Suspect arrested in staged multi-million-dollar robbery, $8 million in cash recovered. A 37-year-old man, Persaud Victor of Rossignol, is now in police custody after confessing to staging a multi-million-dollar robbery in an attempt to steal money he was entrusted to transport. Victor initially reported to the Mahaica police station that 3 armed men robbed him of GYD $10,250,000 while he was transporting cash from a cambio in Georgetown to Rossignol. According to his initial account, the robbery occurred around 11 o'clock HRS at Unity, Mahaica Old Road, after the gunman forced his vehicle off the road. Claiming the money belonged to a jeweler from Rossignol, Victor's story aroused suspicion among investigators. Further questioning by CID ranks led to his confession, in which he admitted that the robbery was staged to embezzle the funds. He revealed that he had hidden $2 million within his vehicle, which police recovered. Victor later directed police to Ithaca Village, West Bank Burbus, and his Rossignol residence, where an additional $6 million was found stashed in a washing machine. Authorities are actively searching for Cornell Taylor, also known as Rostamon, an alleged accomplice who is believed to have the remaining funds. Investigations are ongoing, and police continue to pursue all leads to ensure those involved are brought to justice. Father and son arrested after attempted bribery in stolen meat investigation. A cattle farmer from Alness Village, Corentyne, and his son, a hire car operator, are now facing bribery charges after allegedly attempting to bribe a police officer in connection with a case involving stolen cattle meat. On October 31st, police officers on patrol in Backstreet, number 64 Village, Corentyne, Region 6, noticed a black fielder wagon, HD 5120, which appeared suspicious. The driver of the vehicle exited upon seeing the officers and fled the scene. Upon inspection, police discovered cattle carcasses in the vehicle. Later that morning, the farmer and his son approached a police sergeant from the patrol at the number 51 police station. The cattle farmer offered the sergeant $100,000 in an attempt to secure leniency, saying, "Yo, sergeant, see what you can do for we." The sergeant counted the money in their presence before informing them of the bribery charge. Both men were cautioned, arrested, and taken into custody. The men, identified as Fleming Gray, the hire driver, and Garfield Gray, the cattle farmer, have been charged and are expected to appear in the Springlands Magistrates Court today to answer to the bribery charge. Police continue to investigate the origin of the meat found in the vehicle. Community urged to support Kenneth Persaud following devastating house fire. Newsroom: Kenneth Persaud, a 75-year-old retired sugar worker from Martyrsville, is facing heartbreaking hardship after a massive blaze destroyed his home on Wednesday night, leaving him with nothing but the clothes on his back. The fire consumed all of Persaud's belongings, including funds he had saved, leaving him without basic essentials and uncertain about his next steps. Tragically, this loss comes just weeks after his wife of over 40 years passed away on October 18th, adding to his emotional and financial burdens. Persaud, who dedicated decades of his life working in the sugar industry, recounted how he and his late wife worked tirelessly to create a comfortable home for themselves and hoped to leave behind something meaningful for their grandchildren. Following his wife's passing, he made new purchases to rebuild some comfort, but those too were lost in the fire. Among the items destroyed were a 40-inch television and a cordless phone gifted by his late wife's family. The cause of the fire is under investigation, but Fire Chief, A.G. Gregory Wickham has confirmed that it was maliciously set. Persaud suspects foul play, as he returned home the night before the fire to find his house had been ransacked. The community is encouraged to support Persaud during this difficult time. Those who wish to offer assistance can reach out to his relative, Mahadio Nanku, at 220-7468. Coldingen vendors displaced as stalls removed following traffic concerns. Kaider News. Vendors along the roadside at Coldingen, East Coast Demerara, ECD, are facing severe financial hardships after their stalls were dismantled by authorities. The Ministry of Public Works issued notices earlier this month, citing traffic congestion during peak hours as the reason for removing the roadside stalls. The vendors, including single mother Alicia Moffat, clothing vendor Alison Morrison, and father of 3 Kemraj Singh, report that the eviction has had a devastating impact on their income and ability to support their families. Morrison, who also supports her deceased sister's child, expressed frustration at her inability to pay her bills, calling the stall her only source of income. Singh, who sold coconut water and vegetables, shared similar difficulties, stating that his financial stability was jeopardized and that working elsewhere often results in inadequate pay. A letter reportedly received from the Ministry of Public Works on October 3 ordered the vendors to dismantle their stalls within 1 week. The vendors, however, presented what they claimed was a letter from the Office of the President, which appeared to countermand the eviction order. Upon investigation, authorities found this letter to be fake. On November 5, a team from Vigilance Police Station was dispatched with 6 men to oversee the final removal of the structures. The police report noted an escalation on site when the vendors produced the purported letter, later determined to be inauthentic. Once verified, officers proceeded to dismantle the remaining stalls, concluding the clearance operation. The ministry's enforcement actions have highlighted the challenges of balancing public safety and livelihoods, with the affected vendors calling for a fair solution that will allow them to rebuild their businesses while not impacting traffic. Man pleads guilty to manslaughter in fatal chopping of estranged partner. Nicholas Sean Williams, 49, has pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of manslaughter in connection with the death of his estranged partner, Clarabelle Johnson. Williams initially faced a murder charge but accepted the reduced charge during a recent hearing at the Demerara High Court before Justice Joanne Barlow. His sentencing is scheduled for November 27. The tragic incident took place on October 6, 2020, in Alboystown, Georgetown, when Williams attacked Johnson, reportedly striking her with a cutlass near her home. The blow to her knee severed a major artery, leading to fatal blood loss despite efforts to save her at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Johnson, a mother of 3, had recently separated from Williams and moved in with her parents to escape a history of abuse. She had obtained a restraining order against him, but tragically, this measure did not prevent the fatal assault. Following the attack, Williams fled the scene but was apprehended by police later that evening. Williams was represented by attorney Kiswana Jefford in the case. Regularization begins for 200 families in Block 42, Linden. The government will soon begin the long-anticipated regularization of land for approximately 200 families in Block 42, Amelia's Ward, Linden. The announcement was made by Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Susan Rodriguez, during an outreach to Region 10. This initiative will grant residents formal land ownership and improve access to financial resources for home expansion and business opportunities. During her address, Minister Rodriguez noted that although an initial survey had been completed, the ministry's survey unit would conduct a new one to include all homes. This process might require some residents to modify their boundaries or relocate, but the end goal is secure land titles for all families in the area. Minister Rodriguez emphasized the significance of this development for Block 42 residents, calling it a monumental milestone for the community. She urged residents to support the process and to help deter potential squatters, reflecting the government's commitment to secure housing for citizens. Chief Executive Officer of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, CHPA, Sherwin Greaves, and other officials were present to discuss the upcoming changes. In addition to land regularization, the government plans to improve infrastructure in Block 42, with projects to include roads, recreational spaces, a nursery school, and a health center. The announcement follows Minister Rodriguez's recent declaration that the government plans to allocate 1,600 house lots within 2 weeks in nearby areas of Fitzhope and Vismar, in response to Region 10's 4,000 pending applications for house lots. President Ali urges acceleration of $12.4 billion Ogle Pediatric and Maternal Hospital project. Qaeda News. President Irfan Ali has voiced his dissatisfaction with the slow construction pace of the $12.4 billion Ogle Pediatric and Maternal Hospital, currently under development on the east coast of Demerara. Accompanied by Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony during a site visit, President Ali stressed the need for faster progress to ensure the project meets its deadlines. "We are hoping that the contractor would pick up the pace," President Ali remarked. "We are not satisfied with the current speed, and we are not shifting our deadline for the hospital's completion. This hospital, once finished, is expected to be one of the most advanced pediatric facilities in the region." Although VAMD project manager Diana Lopez informed the president that internal works, such as plumbing and electrical installations, are scheduled to commence in October 2025, President Ali firmly rejected the delay. He emphasized the government's commitment to maintaining the timeline and warned of liquidated damages if deadlines are missed. "That is not going to fly with us. That is far beyond the project time," he stated, urging VAMD to increase manpower and adopt a shift system to expedite progress. The 256-bed facility, spanning 24,000 square meters, will provide state-of-the-art pediatric care, featuring an imaging suite with CT, X-ray, and MRI equipment, and a modern laboratory for advanced testing. Awarded to VAMD in June 2022, The project aligns with the government's mission to enhance healthcare infrastructure. President Ogle also mentioned plans to bring in foreign specialists to assist with the hospital's initial operations, ensuring high standards of care from its opening phase. VP Jagdeo urges GECOM to prepare for 2025 elections by August, criticizes opposition's biometric voting push. Vice President Jagdeo emphasized today that the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, should be prepared by August 2025 for the upcoming general and regional elections. His statement aims to ensure election readiness while addressing recent opposition demands for electoral reforms, including the addition of biometric voting. The opposition, including the Alliance for Change, AFC, and other parties, have called for an overhaul of the voters list and the adoption of electronic voting and biometric systems at polling stations. In response, VP Jagdeo acknowledged the need for GECOM to focus on election preparations but criticized the push for biometrics, saying it could lead to unnecessary complications at polling stations. GECOM must focus on preparing for the 2025 elections, to allow the president the room to decide when he wants to hold elections, said VP Jagdeo. He added that calls for biometric systems, such as iris scanning, could obstruct the voting process, potentially causing confusion. According to Jagdeo, the government has taken steps to fortify the electoral framework without compromising accessibility for eligible voters. The VP pointed to recent amendments in electoral laws as enhancing transparency, including mandating that statements of poll, SOPs, are published electronically. He described the current system as robust, explaining that safeguards prevent ineligible voting. Jagdeo reiterated that while he previously supported the idea of enhanced biometrics, it was aimed at ensuring legitimacy, not restricting voter access. The vice president also addressed the opposition's request for voter residency verification, asserting, "You cannot remove people's names from the voters list for residency reasons. The system is robust enough to prevent ineligible voting without such measures." The call for these electoral adjustments comes amid recent warnings from AFC leader Nigel Hughes, who cautioned that Guyana's electoral system could face ongoing crises without swift action on key electoral issues. People's Progressive Party, PPP, plans to collaborate with incoming Trump administration to address opposition misinformation. The People's Progressive Party, PPP, today announced its commitment to working closely with the incoming U.S. administration under President-elect Donald Trump to counter false narratives propagated by opposition groups in Guyana. The announcement came from PPP General Secretary, Dr. Jagdeo, during a press conference in Georgetown, where he extended congratulations to President-elect Trump on his decisive electoral victory. Dr. Jagdeo emphasized the PPP's intention to leverage its relationship with the Trump administration to correct what he described as misleading information disseminated by the PNCR-led APNU plus AFC coalition. He noted that, for several years, the opposition has presented inaccurate portrayals of the PPP to U.S. officials, including claims that the PPP is racially biased, corrupt, and mishandles Guyana's oil revenues. Dr. Jagdeo affirmed that the PPP is eager to set the record straight with the U.S. government, providing transparent evidence to substantiate its good governance practices. For the past several years, the opposition has routinely conveyed a standard set of misrepresentations to every U.S. delegation that visits Guyana, including claims about our party's transparency and competence. However, we are committed to presenting factual evidence to illustrate the strides we have made in upholding transparency and inclusivity in governance, Dr. Jagdeo stated. As part of its transparency measures, the PPP highlighted its record of public accessibility to procurement information through the National Procurement and Tender Board Administration (NPTAB) website, where contract details, prices, and procurement methods are openly available. This stands in contrast to the previous 5-year tenure of the APNU plus AFC, during which, Dr. Jagdeo stated, key procurement information was withheld from the public, contrary to the legal requirements of Guyana's Procurement Act. Transparency is crucial, not only for our citizens but also for our international partners and investors. Our government remains committed to an open and accountable system, and we expect that by maintaining this standard, we can demonstrate our integrity and counter the opposition's false claims, Dr. Jagdeo asserted. The PPP has maintained a productive relationship with President Trump's prior administration, and Dr. Jagdeo expressed confidence that this rapport will continue under Trump's incoming government, especially as the PPP works to highlight its achievements and efforts to improve governance in Guyana. We look forward to continuing to debunk false narratives and foster a constructive relationship with the U.S. under President-elect Trump's leadership, Dr. Jagdeo concluded. Donald Trump's recent win marks a historic return to the White House, making him the oldest U.S. president to serve and the first to return for a second non-consecutive term since Grover Cleveland in 1893. President-elect Trump will assume office on January 20, 2025.